Good afternoon, sixth grade scholars. Happy Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. If Easter's your thing, I hope you enjoyed celebrating that with your family. Let's take a look at the article that we read over the weekend and some exemplar student work. We had a little bit of a dip in turn-in rate, but considering it was a holiday weekend, I'm not thrilled, but I'm not super upset. Again, my goal by the end of this week is to consistently be at least at 50%. And I know that a lot of you just you're getting your internet up, getting access to some Chromebooks. So I know that this is going to be up in the next couple of days, and it's going to stay up. Today's student spotlight is Tiara Williams. And we're just going to look at Tiara's work, and I'm not even going to show you my exemplar because Tiara's answers were just as strong as mine. So take a second to pull up your graded document, just in case you want to compare your answers to the answers that we're going to go over. So we read the first 6 paragraphs of this article from the New Yorker called "You Have No Idea What Happened." Okay. And here are Tiara's answers. Which of these memories would be a flashbulb memory? She picked C. And your house burning down would be a flashbulb because it's an emotional, it's a traumatic event, that you're more likely to remember. It's more likely to be kind of burned into your head. So the article talked about this student, RT, who was pretty positive she was in her dorm room when she found out about the Challenger space shuttle explosion and what she did afterwards. When she was when she was actually in class though. She was in class the day that it happened because she was asked to write down, what happened and where was she. So 2 years later, her memory of being in her dorm room was completely wrong. And so that's what we kind of learned about in these first 7 paragraphs of how our minds, our memories, they don't do too good with the small details around big events. They do well when it comes to remembering the big things, but not so much with the small little details. The students were given a test asking them, hey, how confident are you that you know where you were when the Challenger exploded? And they found that there was no connection. Like Tiara says, the students were very confident, but it turns out the results were wrong. This question tripped up a lot of people. Maybe it was the wording. How confident were the students in the accuracy of their memories of the Challenger explosion, and what were the actual results? Tiara nailed it. She said they were very confident, but their results were were wrong, and that there's nothing special or there's no connection between the confidence that they had and the actual accuracy that they had of their memories. And what do our brains get right when remembering big events, and what do they get wrong? Tiara says, when remembering big events, our brains succeed at how tragic and emotional the situation was. But what they're wrong about is the specific details about what happened. I just think back about, emotional or traumatic events. There was a girl when I was in 6th grade. There was a girl in my grade that got hit by a car, and she was really, really injured. She ended up being fine, but that was a really big deal when she got hit by the car, and she was with some friends who watched it happen. And I bet you they can tell you exactly what it was like, which direction the car was heading, and what happened to Chelsea when she was hit. But I bet when it comes to what color shirt was she wearing, what clothes were they? Go on, Hayes. What clothes were they wearing? The little details like that. Who exactly was there with them when the group saw it happen? They're probably going to get all of those wrong. So the big things our brains remember, the little things not so much. Today, you're going to continue reading the article. I've included the rest of the paragraphs, picking up at paragraph 8. And I'm going to start off the reading with you because it's going to get into some very technical scientific terms when it comes to brain science or neuroscience. And so I'm going to walk through the first question with you just so you understand just so you can get a good start. All right. So let's take a look at the first question that's being asked. First, you're going to get 2 multiple choice questions. You got to pay really close attention to the wording of each of these. This is number 1 asked you which of the following best describes the results of the experiments with the challenger that they described in paragraphs 1 through 5. You need to highlight 2 options. Okay. So find the two descriptions that really nail what that experiment found. Pay very close attention because one of these answers is just flat out wrong. 2 of them are kind of close, but there's just a little a word or 2 in there that make that seem like it could be accurate, but there's no evidence for it. All right, so you got to pay really close attention to the wording. Again, you need to select 2. One of them is flat out wrong, and the other 2 are close confusers. So read those options carefully. Number 2, it says reread the lines from paragraph 1 below. She could say with absolute certainty that that's how it happened, except it turns out none of what she remembered was accurate. What central idea in paragraphs 1 through 5 support this quotation? Does this quotation best support? So for central idea for number 2, guys, from these options, make sure you're picking the central idea, the main idea that this quote supports. All right, let's get into picking up on paragraph 8. First thing we're reading for is what is the hippocampus's job in your brain, and what is the amygdala? Amygdala. What is the amygdala's job? Hippocampus and amygdala. Within the brain, memories are formed and consolidated largely due to the help of the small seahorse-like structure called the hippocampus. Damage the hippocampus, and you damage the ability to form lasting recollections. The hippocampus is located next to a small almond-shaped structure that is central to the encoding of emotion, the amygdala. Damage that, and basic responses such as fear, arousal, and excitement disappear or become muted. All right, that was my first read. Now I'm going to reread back and pick up because I saw those terms hippocampus. I know it was described. I saw the term amygdala. I know it was described. So now I'm going to go back and find my answer. What's the hippocampus's job? What's the amygdala's job? All right. Within the brain, memories are formed and consolidated. Consolidated, guys, means collected. Memories are formed and consolidated largely due with the help of a seahorse-like structure called the hippocampus. If you damage the hippocampus, and you damage the ability to form lasting recollections. All right, so in your own words, what's the hippocampus's job? Well, the first sentence says it right there. Memories are formed and consolidated largely due to the help of the hippocampus. So it's memories. They help form, and consolidate means to collect, right? This is like your hippocampus makes memories, And to even back it up, it says if you damage the hippocampus, you damage the ability to form lasting recollections. Recollections is a memory, right? So the hippocampus's job, it's kind of like our librarian. Stores memories. Hippocampus stores memories. Cool. What's the amygdala's job? The hippocampus is located next to a small almond-shaped structure that is central to the encoding of emotion. And I believe I included a encode up here. I said encode means to like process or deal with, right? So they deal with or encode a process of emotion. The amygdala. Damage that, and basic responses such as fear, arousal, and excitement disappear or become muted. Cool. So here it says it's central to encoding of emotion. If it does get damaged, then um, you're not able to have basic responses like fear, arousal, excitement, right? Emotions. The amygdala is where our emotions come from. Fascinating, right? We always talk about you listen to your heart, your heart is what guides you or would get you excited. Nope, it's your amygdala. All right. So now we know the hippocampus's job is to store the memories. The amygdala is in charge of our emotions. As you keep reading, you're going to see how these two work together to um, to form memories. And remember, flashbulb memories, guys, are memories of traumatic or emotional experiences. So you're going to see the connection between your memories and your emotions, your hippocampus and the amygdala as you read on. Okay. The big question that this builds to is, why are we reading this article? Because I want you to see what the connection might be to 12 Angry Men. So once you learn more about how the amygdala and the hippocampuses kind of work together in during traumatic events or memories, I want you to apply this to 12 Angry Men. Based on the science that you now know about our memories, what advice would the scientists in this study, what advice would they have for the jurors in 12 Angry Men?